If you think Amish women can just say no to marriage, you have no idea what really happens behind those closed doors. I'm Sarah, and I spent the first 18 years of my life in an Amish community, and what I'm about to tell you might shock you because it's nothing like what you see in those romantic documentaries or what tourists think when they drive through Amish country. Let me take you back to when I was 16 years old. That's when everything changed for me. That's when I started to understand that my life wasn't really mine. See, in the English world, 16 means you're starting to think about college, maybe getting your driver's license, figuring out who you want to be. But in my world, 16 meant something completely different. It meant I was now of courting age, and that's when the pressure started. People always ask me, can Amish women say no to marriage? And the answer is, well, it's complicated. Technically, yes, you can say no. Nobody's going to physically force you to stand at the altar. But here's what nobody tells you. Saying no comes with consequences that most Amish girls simply cannot bear. And that's the part that people don't understand. Let me explain how it actually works. When a young man is interested in you, he doesn't just ask you out like in the English world. First, he talks to his parents. Then, if they approve, someone approaches your parents. And here's the thing. By the time anyone asks you anything, the adults have already decided this is a good match. They've already discussed your future, your family's reputation, the land, the businesses, everything. You're basically the last person to be consulted about your own life. I remember when I was 17, there was a young man, I'll call him Jacob, who was interested in me. Jacob was 24. His family owned a large farm next to ours. Good family, respected in the community. Everything looked perfect on paper. But I barely knew him. We had maybe spoken 3 or 4 times in our entire lives. And suddenly, I'm being told that he's courting me. Now here's where it gets tricky. When I expressed hesitation, not even a flat-out no, just hesitation, the responses I got were immediate. My mother sat me down and explained that Jacob's family was well respected, that this was a good opportunity, that I should be grateful. My father didn't say much, but I could see the disappointment in his eyes. And then there were the whispers at church, the looks from other women, the subtle comments about girls who were too picky, too proud, too worldly in their thinking. You have to understand something about Amish culture. Everything revolves around community approval. Your reputation isn't just about you, it's about your entire family. When you say no to a suitable match, people start asking questions. What's wrong with her? Why is she being difficult? Is she being influenced by English ideas? Does she think she's too good for our young men? And these questions, they don't just fade away. They follow you everywhere. I had a friend, I'll call her Rebecca. Rebecca said no to a young man who was pursuing her. He was a good man, from a good family, but she just didn't feel right about it. She wanted to wait. She wanted to be sure. You know what happened? Within 6 months, the rumors started. People said she was rebellious, that she had been sneaking around with English boys, that she was reading forbidden books. None of it was true, but the damage was done. Her family's reputation suffered. Her younger sisters suddenly had fewer courting prospects. And Rebecca, she ended up marrying someone else within a year, just to stop the gossip. So can you technically say no? Yes. But can you say no without consequences? Absolutely not. Because here's what people don't realize. In the Amish community, marriage isn't just about 2 people falling in love. It's about family alliances. It's about economic stability. It's about maintaining the structure of the community. When you're a young Amish woman, you're not just choosing a husband, you're accepting or rejecting an entire social arrangement that affects everyone around you. And there's another layer to this that makes it even more complicated. From the time you're a little girl, you're taught that your purpose, your entire value is to be a wife and mother. You don't go to school past 8th grade. You're not trained for any career. You're not encouraged to develop individual dreams or goals. Everything in your upbringing points toward one destination, marriage and motherhood. So when the time comes and a suitable man is interested, saying no feels like rejecting your entire purpose for existing. I remember lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling of the room I shared with my 3 sisters, trying to imagine what saying no would actually mean. Where would I go? What would I do? I had no education beyond 8th grade, no money of my own, no skills that would help me survive in the English world. and staying in the community as an unmarried woman past a certain age that came with its own form of isolation and pity. The truth is, most Amish women don't say no because the cost of saying no is simply too high. You're not just rejecting one man. You're potentially rejecting your family, your community, your entire way of life, and any sense of security you've ever known. That's not really a choice. That's survival instinct telling you to accept what's expected. Now, I need to be clear about something. Not every Amish marriage is forced or unhappy. Some couples do develop genuine love and partnership. Some women are perfectly content with their lives. I'm not here to paint every situation with the same brush, but what I am saying is that the idea of free choice, the way the English world understands it, that doesn't really exist for most Amish women when it comes to marriage. When I finally left the community at 18, one of the hardest things was explaining to English people why I had left. They'd say, well, if you didn't want to get married, why didn't you just say no? And I'd try to explain that it's not that simple, that saying no meant losing everything and everyone I'd ever known, that it meant being labeled as rebellious, as damaged, as someone who abandoned her faith and her family. Even now, years later, there are family members who won't speak to me, not because I did anything terrible, but because I chose a different path. So the next time someone asks me, can Amish women say no to marriage? I tell them this. Yes, you can say no, but you need to be prepared to lose everything. And most young Amish women, standing at that crossroads at 16 or 17 or 18 years old, they're not prepared for that. How could they be? They've been raised in a world that never taught them they had any other option. That's the reality behind the bonnets and the buggies and the simple life that looks so peaceful from the outside. It's a life where choices exist on paper, but not really in practice, where tradition and community pressure are so powerful that free will becomes almost impossible. And that's something I wish more people understood. If you want to hear more about what life was really like growing up Amish, the things nobody talks about, the rules that controlled every aspect of my day, and how I finally found the courage to leave, then subscribe to this channel. I'm sharing the truth, the real stories, not the romanticized version. And trust me, there's so much more you don't know. Hit that subscribe button because this is just the beginning.